G'day and welcome everybody, Phil here with some StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm action. Today we're going to look at a Zerg versus Protoss, in fact, or perhaps a Protoss versus Zerg, depending on which side you're fighting from yourself. Down at the bottom right hand side is our red Zerg player. Not really too sure about who this player is. It's probably a Smurf because it is the Korean server and probably like a very mid to high Grandmasters MMR ranking. So I'm not sure who it is, but he goes by the name of Splendid. His opponent up towards the top right hand side, our feature player who released this replay as part of the recent replay pack number 61, if I remember correctly. It is Liquid HerO. So we'll see what HerO gets up to here today on what many will claim is a very Zerg favored map. Whirlwind, one of the largest maps in the ladder map pool. I'd be interested to see if Xeris Prime TE is bigger. I think it has. Does it have the same amount of bases? I'm just sort of counting them up in my head right now. No, actually, this one has 2 more bases, so it might be still one of the biggest maps in the ladder pool, but regardless, it's still a nice map because as a Zerg player, you can tend to expand away from your opponent, especially when you're in these positions. You'll often see Zerg players just sort of expand down in this direction, and if we look on the minimap, you can see what I mean. They'll just sort of generally go this way. Whereas a Protoss player, they'll probably come down towards the natural, of course. They'll then take a third, probably up here. And then the fourth is a little bit of a weird sort of thing. In Terran versus Zerg, you'll often see Terrans take their fourth towards their opponent, because what they like to do is rally their units across. But with a Protoss, you don't necessarily need to do that, just because of the simple fact of warp gates. So we'll see how, if it even gets to that stage. Obviously, I'm not saying it'll necessarily get to a 4th base stage, but still, it's an interesting thing to consider when you look at this matchup. So here it comes along and is going to throw down a pylon in the way of that natural so that his opponent can't get the hatchery down as he would like to. So as we can see, Splendid already starting a spawning pool, a very standard opening there. Just to, you can sort of expect that a high-level player will be able to block off your natural and possibly even your third. So you do need to get those lings out as quickly as you can. So you will have those on the way. HerO starting a Forge and then a Nexus as well. We'll probably see a cannon go down reasonably quickly here from the Liquid Protoss player in just a second. He continues to harass his opponent economically speaking. He's now blocked off the 3rd base as well. Has put some of these drones in the red, and as you can see, he's been able to, wow, and then he's even able to block off the 3rd base. So HerO with a huge amount of economic damage here. Well, you look at it and you think, well, he hasn't actually killed anything. But what he has done, he's killed the hatchery effectively, because as we can see, we have Splendid almost up to 600 minerals at one point there. So he's had to suffer the wrath of quite a lot of delayed time in putting down a hatchery there. But HerO gonna try and block off the 3rd yet again. Will he be able to do it this time? It looks like the probe will stick around for the moment. I probably wouldn't really advise putting another pylon down. And yeah, he's gonna wisely evacuate that probe for the moment. Gonna pause apparently. One of the players having a little bit of an issue, but HerO back at home has now got his 2nd pylon up, gateway on the way, and HerO is was previously one of the most fantastic drop users in Protoss vs Zerg, and a lot of people, myself included, would love to watch HerO's replays just simply because he utilized warp prisms, and not only that, but just in general, his micro was just one of the most fantastic things you would get to see in the entire game. But recently he struggled a little bit, has done really well at some of the recent tournaments, but I think he's still missing some of that magical flash that he used to have, and I don't mean flash obviously in the literal sense, but he's missing some of that kind of that sort of stylistic play where he would be dropping things all over the place, multiple prisms going everywhere, this way and that kind of thing. So I would really like to see HerO utilize something like that. In Heart of the Swarm, there are different units you can utilize, the Oracles, the Tempest later on in the game if it does get to that stage. Quite often you don't really get to see Tempest in Protoss vs Zerg, just because of the fact that Void Rays do quite a good job against most of the late game Zerg units, but we'll see what happens. Splendid going up to a total of 31 drones at the moment. A few more about to pop out. 2 queens about to finish up for him as well. So he's going to have a total of 5 queens out on the map. And once he's got those out, we'll see him spreading creep all over the place. And then once he's got that, then we'll probably see how he likes to transition from here. A very common play lately to try and deal with what has become reasonably common after DreamHack is the gateway expand. But a lot of ways that Zerg plays would deal with that is very fast +2 upgrades on both attack and carapace for Lings, and we're not going to see that this time. Obviously, HerO's going for a standard sort of Forge expansion, but still, those double upgrades could come along, and what is a very common sort of play in Zerg versus Protoss is a high Ling count with Hydras attacking a third Protoss base. So what you can do is you can try and harass this base, you can try and come up the ramp if you can get past force fields and that kind of thing, and harass the third base with Lings and Hydras while getting up a nice meter count behind all of that. So we'll keep an eye on what Splendid is up to with that. He gets a little bit of a scout inside the natural base here, but not too far inside the main. Mothership core now popping out for HerO. Looks like there is a Twilight Council down the back, so possible DTs, I don't know. He's certainly got a lot of gas built up, so there's no real sign just yet of what HerO's up to, but a couple of gates now being built down the back. I think these are meant to be hidden gates down here, so yeah, okay, there you go. So he's going to add in quite a few more gates, so we're going to take it to a total of 7 gates here. It is looking highly likely to be, yep, charge. So it's going to be a charge lot build. We'll see what is going to be added in with that. Likely there will be a Templar Archives or something like that. There it is. So we've got a Templar Archives along with the 4 gates inside the main base. A couple more Chrono Boost going to go inside that Templar Archives to get the Twilight Council. Sorry, the Templar Archives. The Twilight Council to get the charge out as quickly as possible. And wow, look at that for an Artosis pylon. Are we still calling it that? I think we're still calling it that, because that is powering up not only 4 gates but also the Templar Archives. So what we're going to see here is a charge lot based attack, factoring in +2 weapons, then adding in some Archons as well. We'll no doubt see HerO add in those Templar. He'll probably put them out here because you can't actually move out through that kind of wall with an Archon, so I doubt he's going to morph the Archons inside the natural base here, but we'll see what Splendid has got prepared for this. Sporkril is going up. He's a little bit unsure of what's going on. Does have the double Evo chambers here, getting some research going on 1-1 missile and carapace attacks. Roach Warren has cranked out a couple of roaches here with Roach Speed not done just as of yet. I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't started that. There you go. Roach Speed has started. Macro Hatch inside the main along with a Spire. So we're going to see a Roach-based play coming out of Splendid here. Now the big question is he going to be in position to deal with these attacks? Because charge lots with +2 will shred Roaches as long as they can stay in range. But one big factor is also going to be the force fields as well. So HerO's going to add in another Archon here. We'll probably see a proxy pylon go down once that Archon catches up. This is going to be a pretty powerful force, and here we go. So HerO going to start the push. He's just clearing out some of this creep spread, and Splendid a little bit underprepared. We'll see how much damage this can do. He's got a lot of roaches out here, but as we said, these guys have now got +2 on their attack, so they will tear apart quite a lot of those roaches there. A time warp goes down from HerO, just trying to keep everything safe for the time being while that pylon warps in. The 7 gates activating. So many zealots here, and you know, like a lot of people will say, well, he doesn't have too many stalkers, how is he going to deal with all those roaches? But when you have that many zealots, and if he can get into a good position here, and it looks like he's going to do exactly that, force fields on the ramp just blocking out all of those units there. So Splendid is stuck down the bottom of the ramp. His hatchery is definitely gone. Looks like the drones will also be gone as well. Clumping up, an Archon says, I'll take that, thank you very much, and blast down all of the drones. And that is a 21 drone kill count here for HerO. He's also starting a third base behind all of this, throwing down a few cannons. So behind this attack, he has done a nice amount of macro there. He's getting up the Robo facility, has also got the couple of cannons at third base and +3 to weapons on the way. So HerO sitting very comfortably right here. And you say, well, you know, he might not be able to get out of this situation without losing a lot of his units, because that is still a lot of roaches. And he says, all right, peace, I'm out of here. And recalls back home. So HerO takes a comfortable position right here. He's not necessarily in a lead just as of yet, but that is a very nice amount of drones that he's killed off. And there it is, that Archon getting in the way. I was going to say, I sort of mentioned it before, that wall will not let an Archon out, so HerO actually has to bust down one of his pylons here. But behind, we can see that the Mutalisks are being built up by Splendid. He's going to add in all of those. And now the big question is, will Liquid HerO have the anti-air defenses right now? Archons, excellent at dealing with mutas, but will they be in position? That is, We'll see if he's going to be able to get them into the right spot, but Splendid looks like he's going to try and attack into the third base. This position here is very vulnerable to those force fields, and we'll see if HerO's able to get them down in time. Gets two reasonable, gets a few of the roaches there, a reasonable catch, not the best you would want to see, but as we can see, those mutas have made their way inside the natural base. No protection here for HerO at all, completely unprepared for this. He's got Blink researching, which is always nice, but wow, that Artosis pylon, is he going to take that down? Yes, he does, while there is an attack going on here at just outside the third base of HerO, but the mutas are doing so much damage now, jetting their way inside the main base. Probes getting taken out. Double Stargates now have been completed, but will he be able to get out enough resources to actually finish up and build some Phoenix here? Unburrowing as quickly as he can. No observers here to save the units, but it looks like the roaches are able to get out of there, or at least some of them, and Splendid is just doing an incredible amount of damage right now. Probes going down all over the place. He's about to catch up in the probe kill count that HerO had, and the roaches unburrowing, or at least getting revealed by an observer there, and it looks like HerO is in a really precarious spot right now. He's got roaches at the front door knocking on his natural here, trying to see what damage they can get done, and the mutas continuing to harass, perhaps getting a little bit too aggro there, just attacking into 3 cannons at this point, but he has been able to get inside. Roach is trying to target down that cannon, and he does get rid of it, so no real defenses here, and wow, look at that. 5 unpowered buildings here for Liquid HerO. He hasn't researched Storm just as of yet, so keep that in mind. That is going to be very delayed if he in fact is going to be able to get it here. He starts up another pylon just across to the side, so he is going to try and get that up and running, but no second pylon to cover that. I'm very intrigued by that. HerO, what's going on, my friend? But for Splendid, he has been able to recoup his drone count. He's back up to 65 after crippling damage that he's being dealt at the start, but is now being able to get everything back up and running. Around about 2,000 minerals, 700 gas coming in at a time, so he's got a very nice economy back at home. Missing a couple of injects, but he's about to get supply blocks, so it doesn't really matter too much. He's now going to attack into the natural yet again. Archon still out of position. I would love to see an Archon just sort of sit here in the middle of the mineral line. Of course, it doesn't actually block anything, because the probes will actually just mine through it, and again, the Artosis pylon gets sniped down by those mutas, and an Archon comes across, throwing up the Pimp Fist to do what he can, and HerO busy defending at his third base with some really nicely done force fields, sort of a little bit higgledy-piggledy all over the place, but with the 2 Immortals here, he should be able to fend off all of those roaches, and HerO yet again throws down a singular pylon to try and repower all of those buildings here. 7 more mutas on the way, plus 1 to melee attacks being researched right now by Splendid, but he has really put himself in a solid position right now. 136 supply. We'll probably see an infestation pit go down very soon to help out with getting the hive operational, which means more upgrades, which means also those hive tech units as well. But HerO, he really needs to stabilize. He needs to get a few Phoenix out if he can. Just it doesn't even need to be a massive amount. He doesn't need to go like mass Phoenix or anything like that. He just sort of needs to get out enough to sort of dance around with the mutas to try and keep them away from his mineral lines, because if he does it, then he's going to continue to suffer these harassment pokes from Splendid, and as we can see, Splendid about to attack in yet again. Finds another bit of a weak spot here. Mothership Core very unprepared for that. Cannon inside the natural again gets cancelled, and probes getting picked off by the dozen there. We can see 34 workers killed in total by Splendid. He is doing an excellent job with that. And, well, it looks like HerO's just sort of scouting out what his opponent is up to. And Splendid continues to grow the muta count. 6 more on the way, plus 2 to the air attacks is being researched right now. And that is going to add in quite a lot of damage for these mutas here. So they're continuing to just sort of just mosey on around about the map, just trying to limit HerO's production capabilities by limiting his resource income. But now with the Stalkers out, they've got Blink, they've got plus 3 on their attacks. They may be able to hold the mutas back, and HerO may be able to stabilize at this point here. But he is still quite far behind where Splendid is at this point. 81 drones out, 51 probes at the moment for HerO. He's been able to get some more probes out, but the Stalkers get cornered. They blink away as quickly as they can, but unfortunately I'm not sure they'll be able to get away. A couple more do go down. The +1 attack upgrades on those Lings really helping out with the damage that they're doing. And HerO, again, is forced to use some of those His force fields, he loses a couple of more units there as well. And now we see 7 Corruptors coming out from Splendid. So he's recognized that there is a possible Phoenix counter here for Liquid HerO. He's going to throw together a couple more of those tankier units. The Corruptors able to tank up some of the damage. They do a reasonable amount against Phoenix as well. And, you know, he's recognized if HerO can get a nice counter Phoenix up, then my mutas are going to be absolutely useless. So he's decided to get these Corruptors out, which are going to be added into the forces of these mutas. There are already a huge total of mutas out, 20 mutas to go alongside these 7 Corruptors. Now we'll see how much damage HerO is able to do here, but unfortunately with the Corruptors catching him out by surprise there, loses almost all of the Phoenix there, a couple of them in the red, and the Corruptors, they're basically going to sit off to the side. You sort of look at them as sort of like a covering unit, like how Marauders sort of protect Marines against Banelings in a certain way by just sort of tanking up some of the damage and doing a little bit of their own damage. That's what these Corruptors are like right now. They're just going to sit back, they're going to stay in front of the mutas where they can, just sort of snipe down some of those Phoenix. And speaking of sniping them down, HerO just, unfortunately, no micro there, no dancing on those Phoenix. He's got an attack coming across at his third base as well, and I think that HerO is about to fall down. The Artosis pylon inside the main yet again goes down, and we see those buildings power down, and we see Liquid HerO GG out. So really, there's a powerful start from Liquid HerO there, just able to rip apart his opponent's third base, tear down a lot of those drones. We saw 21 drones go down very quickly there, but he just wasn't able to capitalize on that, wasn't prepared for the mutas to come through and just tear apart his own base. So we see Splendid take a victory there against Liquid HerO. Get a scout out, he may be able to see that the economy of cats isn't exactly in a great position right now, but he is still mining away quite nicely just on the one base for the moment, protected by a spine caller. We'd love to see a spore just as well in case